Hello everyone, it's Dale here. Welcome to this video where I'll show you my 3 favorite anchored VWAP setups. I will be focusing mostly on just the trade entries. I won't be focusing on stop loss, take profit placement or position management or any stuff like that. I just want this video to be quick, to the point and just about the trade entries, alright? So, before we get to it, I have a little gift for you. It's my VWAP book. It's a paperback book which I'll send you for free. I'll even cover the shipping. Just follow the link below this video, fill in your address where you want me to send you this book, and I'll send it over. No strings attached. It's a little gift from me to you, alright? So, let's get to it. Let's cover the first setup, and it's anchoring the VWAP to important swing point. All those examples I'm going to show you today are mostly on the euro dollar and on the ES. You can obviously use this on another trading instruments, but you know, the examples are on the euro and the ES and on 30-minute charts. That means those are going to be intraday trades, all right? So, setup number 1, anchoring VWAP to important swing point. Now, what this setup is all about is that you look at the chart and you want to identify the most important or prominent swing point on that chart. A swing point that every trader that's trading the same chart as you do sees as well, all right? In this example, that would be this swing point, right? It's the most prominent place on the chart. So you anchor the VWAP there, you anchor it to the candle which formed the high. That would be this candle. This formed the high of that swing point, so you anchor the VWAP there, and then you wait for pullbacks. And here there's a first pullback, and that means that you go short from there, because the price was below the VWAP, and when it hit the VWAP, you go short from there. The reason that the price is reacting there is that because what the VWAP represents, it is the fair price or the average price, right? Since this place, since this important swing point, right? So that's what the VWAP represents, a fair price. And the reason why there's a reaction is that sellers want to sell here for a fair price. They don't want to sell, for example, from here, because they would be selling too cheap. They want to sell for a fair price. And this is not just people trading, those are algorithms or big trading institutions. By the way, VWAP or anchored VWAP is one of the most used indicator that algos or big trading institutions use. Anyways, all those institutions, all those traders, all those algorithms, they want to sell for a fair price, which is represented by VWAP. That's why the price reacts here, right? So that's why you go short from there, from the place where the price hits the VWAP. And then again, another opportunity is to go short from this place. Then another pullback is in here, so another opportunity for a short. And then another short is in here. All those reactions are triggered by the VWAP and sellers that want to sell for this fair price or for the average price. And it is the fair price since this very important place most traders on this chart base their trading decisions around, right? That's the logic behind it. That's why this works. Now here's another example. Take a look at this chart, and right here, this is the most prominent swing point here, right? Because this is basically where the downtrend ended and uptrend started. So this is the most important place, most important swing point on this chart. And everybody who is trading on this chart, on this instrument and on this time frame sees that. And they base their trading decisions around that, right? So you anchor the VWAP there to that candle that formed the low. That would be this candle. You anchor the VWAP there and then you trade pullbacks. Since the price went up from this point, you wait for this pullback and go long from there, right? Another long trade opportunity would be in here. Long from this place and then long from this place. What the institutions or the algos want to do here is they want to buy for a fair price, right? The price is moving up, but they don't want to buy, for example, in here. That would be, too expensive. It's not a fair price. At this point, it was not a fair price, because at this point, fair price was represented by a VWAP, right? So they want to buy for a fair price. That means from this place, right? Again, next place where the price hits the VWAP, or in other words, the fair or average price, is in here. So this is where more of the buying orders get triggered and those guys go long. And so should you, because you should trade along with the big guys who move and manipulate the market, right? Don't try to go against them, you want to trade with them. Now, this is the last example of the swing point anchor. In this case, again, you can see that there's very prominent low, which is where a downtrend turned into an uptrend. So what you do is you anchor the VWAP to the candle that formed the low. That's this candle. You anchor the VWAP there, and then you wait for the pullbacks. The price went up, so this is where you go long, and from this place another long and another long, right? Every time the price hits the VWAP, there's an opportunity for you to go long, because chances are that the price will react there. All right. By the way, this platform which you see here, that's TradingView platform. I have my custom-made indicator coded on this platform. I'm also using the NinjaTrader 8 platform, which is actually my preferred platform. I have that anchored VWAP coded there as well. But, in this case, I'm just using, for the sake of this presentation, I'm using the TradingView. All right. Setup number 2 is anchoring VWAP to start of a week. As I was saying before, you always want to anchor VWAP to important place, and that place should be important to as many people or as many algos or hedge funds or institutional traders as possible. Start of the week is a very important place for almost all intraday traders. They all base their trading decisions around what the price was doing since the start of the week, right? So that's why you want to anchor the VWAP at the start of the week. And then the VWAP line, this blue line, represents the fair price since the start of the week. Or in other words, the average price of average trader trading this, right? So the logic is the same. You wait for pullbacks, and when the price makes pullback to the VWAP, you enter your short, right? So that's short from here, another short would be from here, another short trade opportunity from here, another one from here, another one from here, and from here this would be a losing trade. And by the way, those setups which I'm showing you, they best work in trending markets. They best work in markets that are doing this. Simply put, when they are like this, right? If market going sideways, then those setups are not as good as if you use them in a trend like this. Anyways, back to this setup. The reason this works is, again, sellers want to sell for a fair price, right? So sellers want to sell from here, from here, from here, from here. They don't want to sell, for example, from this place, right? At least not the clever guys. The clever guys don't want to sell here because this is way below the fair price. The clever guys know what the fair price is. They have the fair price on their charts. They know where it is. And it's not very smart to enter short here way below the fair price. So they wait. They wait. And when the price hits the fair price, this is where they initiate their shorts. That's how the clever guys trade. Now here is a long trade scenario. Again, we anchor the VWAP to the candle, which is the first candle of the week. By the way, we are still looking at a 30-minute chart, right? So this is the first candle of the week. You anchor the VWAP there. And as you can see, the price is already making small reactions there. and all those places are signals for you to go long. Obviously, you can combine this with other strategies that you are trading with. You can use this just as a bonus strategy to give strength to your own strategy or to your own levels, right? But you can also trade this standalone setup. Now, I want you to take a look at here. This is where the price goes past the VWAP and starts to move below it. That means that the VWAP now represents a resistance. Sellers, they want to sell for a fair price, right? Everybody wants to trade at a fair price. Buyers want to buy at fair price, sellers want to sell for a fair price. At this point, all those people who wanted to sell for a fair price, represented by VWAP. That means when the price went below the VWAP in here, you want to consider this VWAP line a new resistance. That means this is where you go short from, right? What happens next is the price goes above the VWAP again, so it should be longs again, so it is support again, right? So in here it was a support, then it turned into a resistance because the price went below the VWAP, and now when it is above the VWAP again, you consider the VWAP a support. Buyers want to buy at this fair price. So if the price, for example, hit the VWAP in here, which it didn't, but if it hit here, then it would be a long, right? Long from this place. Now, one more example of this. You anchor the VWAP at the start of the week. Right here, the price is rotating around the VWAP, so there's not much to do, but then moves away. That means you should focus on longs, right? Because VWAP represents a support line here. And as you can see, the price is reacting to it pretty nicely there. What happens next is there's some kind of macro news which drives the price below the VWAP. And all the traders who want to sell for a fair price want to sell at the anchored VWAP, right? And remember, we are still talking about fair price since the beginning of the week, which is in here, right? That's what the VWAP represents. Fair price since the start of the week. Or in other words, average price of an average trader. So when the VWAP in here turned into a resistance, you want to trade every hit of the resistance here. Unfortunately, in here and in here, the price missed that resistance, but in here, the price hit that VWAP, and that's why you go short from there. If you guys want a full VWAP training, and if you want to get your hands on my custom-made VWAP indicators, then you want to go to my website. This is it, traderdale.com, and if you click Trading Course and Tools, then it will bring you to this page. Scroll down a bit, and in here, there's the VWAP pack, this one. There's a whole video course, it's like 12 hours of VWAP trading videos, my custom-made VWAP indicators for NinjaTrader, TradingView, MetaTrader platforms, and also my custom-made volume profile indicators. You can also scroll down a bit and get all my packs all together for one hugely discounted price in here. That's the volume profile pack, order flow pack, VWAP pack, and smart money pack all together in one pack. Alright, so anyways, let's go back to the presentation and let me show you the third setup. So the third setup is anchoring the VWAP to heavy volume zones. In here you combine VWAP and volume profile. Volume profile shows where the big volumes were traded on the chart. That means that it sort of reveals where the big trading institutions were active, because big trading institutions trade with heavy volumes, right? So if you look at this chart, then there's this rotation, and in this rotation heavy volumes were traded, right? You identify that place with volume profile. That's the first step you want to see, heavy volumes traded within a rotation like this. Second thing is this needs to be followed by a trend activity, a strong trend activity like this one. And this is an important place you want to anchor the VWAP to. It is important because big guys, the big trading institutions, were accumulating their trading positions here, right? And it is also the start of the trend. So that's why this is important, and many traders are placing their trading decisions around this, especially around the place where the volumes were the heaviest and around the place where the sell-off started or where the trend started. So that means you want to anchor the VWAP to that candle, to the last candle of the rotation, which is the first candle of the sell-off usually, right? So it's this huge red candle in this example, that's where you anchor the VWAP, and you trade pullbacks to that, because VWAP represents a fair price since this important place, right? So that means short from here, then as there's this rotation, you don't really want to do anything, because when the market is rotating, VWAP setups don't really work. And then this resistance, the resistance which is represented by the VWAP, turns into a support, right? Because the price is moving above it. So that's why you want to wait for the pullbacks to that support and enter longs from there, right? Again, the logic is the same. Buyers want to buy for a fair price. Now here's another example. Again, this is a short trade scenario because we have this strong downtrend commencing in this heavy volume zone. In this case, you anchor the VWAP to this candle. This is the start of the sell-off, also the last candle of the rotation. By the way, if you anchored the VWAP, for example, to this candle instead of this candle, the VWAP wouldn't really change too much. So don't worry, you won't mess this setup up if you choose a different candle, for example, this one instead of this one. So anyways, you anchor the VWAP there to this candle, and then you trade pullbacks. You simply need to see the price go away from the VWAP and then enter a pullback. Here, that's short from this place, short from this place, and short from this place, right? Sellers want to sell for a fair price. Now here is one last example of this. Check out this little rotation where those massive volumes were traded. And as you can see, it is followed by this strong sell-off. So this is telling us that sellers were active here in this rotation, building up their short positions, and then they pushed the price downwards. It is a very important place, and the big traders, they want to base their trading decisions around this. So since this place, the VWAP represents the fair price, and sellers want to sell at the fair price. That means that sellers are selling here, and so should you. So when the price hits the VWAP, you initiate a short trade, right? In here the price wasn't moving too much because this was the Asian session. That's basically the start of the day. Liquidity is low, volatility is low, so that's why the price wasn't moving too much. That's why the reaction wasn't too swift. But I don't really have problems holding trades even for a couple of hours like this. I learned to be patient, I wait, and that's what has been working for me. Anyways, there's a second test right here, and that means another short from this place. Alright? So that's about that. I hope you guys liked this. If this video gets 500 or more likes, I'll do another one, a little follow-up video where I'll show you how to do little combos of volume profile, VWAP and other trading setups, which will massively improve the win rate. So if we get 500 or more likes, I'll do it. By the way, don't forget about the book. I'll send it over. I'll even cover the shipping. Just fill out the form below this video and book is yours. Alright? So thanks for watching, see you next time, and until then, happy trading.